So Griselda and a few other artists have pretty much been single-handedly reviving the boom bap and the New York hip-hop type sound. And I think it's really cool. I vibe with a lot of Conway, Westside Gunn, Benny the Butcher, Stove God Cooks, Boldy James, just a lot of great artists out there right now. Their beats usually have dusty drums and like dark samples and stuff like that. So that's exactly what we're gonna do today. Yeah, I will just show you how I would approach a beat for Griselda. So let's jump into it. First things first, we need to go sample hunting. So luckily I was just browsing Instagram and I saw one of my friends posted a story of them playing the piano. So I was like, right, I'm gonna rip that off and I'm gonna sample that. So I'm gonna show you what the sample sounded before I flipped it. So that's a gorgeous piano sample, but we're gonna make it grimy. After doing some chops to the sample, I exported it, and now I have this section which I've pitched up 5 semitones. So this is how it's gonna sound like. Right, that's dope. Then for effects, I have a Pro Q3 to cut out some mids and some highs. Want to make it dark. Then I have thermal with the drive chorus preset. I have crystallizer, but I've only enabled it in a few parts. I have these settings on just because I wanted some of that high-end shimmer. So yeah, we're introducing a Pro Q3 to cut out the highs after introducing highs. I don't know, it works. It works, don't question it. By itself is a good sample, but we need to add something to it. So I went on Splice to look for a soul sample and I found this bad boy. So I pitched it up 3 semitones and then time stretched it. That is a banger. And now combined, they're gonna sound something like this. For the second loop, I added track spacer. I sidechained it to the piano so that it can duck out from the main loop because we still want to focus on the piano as the main loop. And the track spacer is doing pretty much this. Okay. And then I cut out the mids and then the highs. I don't know why I used 2 EQs. It doesn't make sense, but you know, that's the vibe. Now we have 2 good loops. Next thing is drums. And I found this loop from one of the Beat Butcher packs. I usually don't mess with drum loops, but this one had a certain vibe to it that I really liked. It just fits the vibe of the song. I want them to slap a bit more. So what I've done is Pro Q3. I cut off anything below 90 Hz just because there was a lot of rumble. The kick is still coming through, but it eliminates all of that rumble in the lows. Then I applied thermal, preset overhead slam. And that's the vibe. And then finally I added some very tiny bit of reverb, like 7% Valhalla vintage verb. So now the main song sounds something like this. To spice up the drums a bit, I have added some percussion here. 2 different open hats. One is a reversed open hat, and then the other one is just before the snare. So it sounds something like this. Yep, that is it. Then something was missing, something very little, and I found this sample here. I just pitched it up a bit. I just added some delay, so now it sounds something like this. Okay, so now with the drums. I could have left the loop just as it is, but in a few places I've chopped it so that it's a bit more interesting. We don't have just repetition. So we just chopped 2 kicks here, cut off the loop. Here, for example, I've reversed the loop, so it sounds something like this. So it gives you that tape rewind effect. Finally, as a melodic ear candy element, I've added some guitar and I tried to make it as authentic as possible. I wanted some old soul kind of guitar bends. And on its own, all you have to do, get a guitar, find your key. So this was in E, so we go E, F, G, right? So I'm gonna build a minor pentatonic scale. So we go 1 4 1 3 1 3 1 3. This one I'm gonna bend this one, bend, and then play the other fret. That's it. All right, and to that I added RC20 with these settings. I cranked up the distortion in the space, and I added pancake so it moves it from left to right. And finally, moving on to the outro. So the piano sample, I just tuned it down 1 octave. In the soul sample, I just added shaper box. For the drums, I've also half-timed them, but I'm using the a quarter triplet. And that's the outro. So just to make sure that it's not a busy beat and that we can actually fit some vocals, I got the Johnny P. Caddy a cappella and I slotted it in and everything is good. And I'm just gonna play a bit of the Benny the Butcher going into the J. Cole verse, because that verse is pretty fire. I'm just gonna play myself out. Hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you in the next one.
So here's my manual, then some. And this east side shit still in me. My ability to turn words to imagery. Probably the reason they gon' remember me. Figure we walk this tightrope with a feline's agility. The streets did so much shit to me, I could never live civilly. On the night of being born, the rain was pouring. God was crying, lightning struck. Power outage, sparks was flying. The real one's here. The young boy that walked with lions around the outlines of chalk where the corpse is lying. Of course I'm trying to revive a sport that's dying. Put the guns in the drug bars, the jar of lying. Got these nerves thinking that you niggas hard as iron, but that just me. Eureka, Einstein on the brink of the theory of relativity. Really no MC equal. Feel me, co-pimp beneath the crib like the old MTV show. Oh God, the best rapper alive, headshot. Now go and ask the best rappers that died. They tell you he never lied.